morning, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us again today here on Talking Business. I am Stephanie Van Vart and I am a small business owner. So today's show is actually another in our series that honors a National Women's Small Business Month. We are talking to another female entrepreneur who's teaching us how to do this right. And it's a really interesting show and a good show today because this young lady actually is behind all of the social media for the show. So I'm going to not only be able to probe her a little bit about what she's doing for our show, but actually tap into her expertise to help you out there that are trying to venture into the entrepreneurship space, especially during trying times. So without further ado, let me stop talking. I know you want to tune into her. Let's meet Ashley Andrews or Ashley Relate.
Well, yeah, either way.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I always, tune in every single Tuesday or Thursday, doing the flyers, posting everything, but now I'm talking, so this is fun.
Yesterday we were talking, she was like, yes, tomorrow is my show. I'm nervous. Nah, this is a piece of cake.
I'm just so behind the scenes all the time. It's just like, once you put me in front of, I'm like, oh my God.
What am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
So let's start with who are you and what do you do?
Okay, so I'm Ashley Andrews. That's my government name, but my brand name is Ashley Relates. I go by that for the past maybe 2 years. I got into communications and marketing probably for the past 5 years now. Went to FIU, got a bachelor's in journalism, but then in 2015, things were different. Journalism was more fun, I think, and the world of communications wasn't as vast as it is now. So I got my minor in social media marketing. Just like, let me just, throw something just to get some more marketing experience instead of just writing experience. So when I got my bachelor's, I was job hunting for maybe like a year. Couldn't get a job in my field because no one really wanted writers and people wanted more marketing and results and stuff like that. So I did some freelancing work with Yvette Harris, which I know she's been on the show before. Yes. She kind of got me into this whole marketing, PR, communications field. So I did some PR with her. Then I got onto Miami Carnival. She put me onto that organization, did some marketing content with them. And then I was like, you know what, actually, let's go back to school. You clearly changed your passion. You don't want to write anymore. You want to, market, be a brand expert. So I applied to go to UF online. They're the number one social media program in the country. So I'm just like, okay, let me do this while I have my day job, but let me, really focus in on what I want to do. So I did that for a year, graduated. It'll almost be a year now. I graduated last December. So I got my master's in social media, and I always love saying that because it's kind of like an icebreaker. People are like, what?
I know.
In social media, like.
And who knew you could get a master's in social media?
Yeah, to this day, I'm just like, it is a master's in mass communication specializing in social media, but like all the coursework was just very social media metrics, social media marketing, branding, advertising. So all of those things combined, it was just a really great hands-on experience. And now I don't ever want to do anything else with my life besides social media and branding. So like I said, I was freelancing for years. I'm just like, you know what, Ashley, in the middle of pandemic, let's try something different. So I founded my agency, Digital Zess, and we are a small boutique social media and branding agency in Miami. And we basically just help entrepreneurs not only level up in the digital space, but also navigate the digital space. Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to be on social media and they're like, oh my God, post this, post that. I just need to be on there, but they don't know how to use it effectively.
Absolutely.
And why it's so important. They know it is important, but they don't know why it's important. So that's kind of what I do through consulting and coaching and stuff like that.
Okay. By the way, Yvette is on. She loves the backdrop. We'll be talking about you later, I'm sure. So you tapped on a lot of things that I want to unpack a little bit. First of all, you started this business during the pandemic.
2 months ago.
Which, it's a little brave. So what prompted that decision? And what prompted the decision? Let's start with that.
Yeah. I think honestly, just seeing the need for social media now in a pandemic, because, we can't go out. It's not like we used to, especially these, brick and mortar businesses, they can't really connect with their audience like they used to face to face. So I just saw a demand for social media more than ever now. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm freelancing, but I want people to take me seriously now. I've been doing this for
Right.
years. So let me take that step to be an actual agency owner instead of just like a freelancer. So I did that. It was really just like fly by night kind of thing. I was like, you know what?
Mhm.
I'm gonna start an agency today. That's it. That is it. I know what I'm doing. Let me finally just spread my wings and fly and do that. And it's been honestly mind-blowing so far. I never knew I
Right.
would have so much clients and so much leads and everything coming in the middle of a pandemic, but I really do believe it's because of the field and the nature of the job. Because like
Right.
I said,
Absolutely.
people want to know how to connect with their audience online now because they can't connect with them any other way.
So you have found a significant uptick in business with this whole online platform.
Definitely.
So now that you have, once we're able to get back out into the space, do you feel this will enhance the market, or we will go back to our old ways, or this is a new normal to stay?
I think for maybe the next 2 years, it'll kind of be the new normal. I think it'll be more like a hybrid kind of
Mhm.
market kind
Mhm.
of thing. So both virtual and in person. But I really do think virtual and online experiences are going to be here to stay for a while because there's anxiety about going out, and it just. I don't see it changing for a while, especially when all these social media platforms are having new features. Like I think Instagram has a shop feature now, so people don't even have to go into the store; they could buy it from
Right.
Instagram. So everything is
Right.
getting a little more automated and virtual. So I think it's here to stay.
Okay. Okay. So let's go back to when you decided to start.
Mm-hmm.
You came up with the name Digital Zess. Tell me, what does Zess mean? Let's
It's
start.
funny. Okay, so I'm pretty good at naming. Like since I'm a brand new person, I'm pretty good at naming things for other people. But for me, I'm just like, oh my god, like what am I gonna do? I'm super super hard on myself. So Digital Zess. Zess is basically okay. So I'm from Trini, right? I was born in Miami, but my family's from Trinidad. And
Okay.
zest is a word, it's a slang word in Trinidad. It kind of means zest. And there's like a song that came out maybe a year ago called More Zesting, Less Stressing. So it's kind of like
Okay.
a party, kind of like upbeat, zesty, like good vibes, kind of flashy in your face kind of way, kind of like putting like little in like
Okay.
your life and everything. So just like, like I want to, pay tribute to my culture in some type of way, but I don't know
Right.
how. So I'm just like, you know what? Digital Zest. Digital Zest. And that was it. People, they love it even when they don't know what it means. So it's like, oh
Right.
my God, it's so cute. It's, whatever. But basically, it's just like a short hand kind of thing for zesty kind of
Okay.
thing. So I kind of
Because
just
I
put the
even
spice
Googled
back
it.
into that.
Like I even Googled it, and it said something like something empowered storage system, and I was like, I don't think that's what she means.
Yeah, no.
That's not what she
No,
means. So I was
it's
like,
all
"Why
about
not
fun
just
and
ask
vibes and partying and everything. But I just use that to show that I will put life back into your social media and branding.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So now we both know starting a business requires some legal steps, some
Mm-hmm.
operational steps, and some financial steps.
Yeah.
Can you talk through what you had to do to get started, both with, legal, setting yourself up legally,
Mm-hmm.
operationally, and financially?
So, luckily for me, I already had an LLC filed because I used to have a media company / blog called The Urban Play. I started that in 2015 with some college friends, and then kind of dissolved when like I said, I didn't want to be a blogger or writer anymore. So I just
Hmm.
always had that there, like as a backup. Like if I ever do another business, like I'll just use that. So it's pretty easy for me. I didn't have to do too many paperwork or anything. I just
Hmm.
had to file to change the name, open back up a bank account and stuff like that. But operations wise, I feel like I'm in over my head because just, operating with like, emails, admin work, onboarding clients, like all of that is a lot. So luckily I do have a systems guru. Her name is actually the systems guru on Instagram. She's really good with systems and different softwares to kind of like automate your business flow, like
Hmm.
invoicing, proposals, all that stuff. So she has helped me a lot, but I know I have a lot to go with the whole organizational skills and everything. But thank God I didn't have to do too much legal stuff.
Okay. Okay. And wait, what's her name again, by the way? I might need to call.
So yeah, on Instagram it's the systems guru. She's
Okay.
really great at operations and everything. So she's a coach in that type of space.
So there definitely is, and I will say I'm learning that as well. There's a sort of people out there who are able to help you really set up your
Mm-hmm.
back of the house
Yeah.
systems, which is there's a lot out there. It can be overwhelming sometimes, but
Yeah.
once you sort of get it together, it is much more helpful. I'm finding that out as we speak.
Yep.
So, how did you start by setting your pricing? What did you sort of think that through?
Great question. So when I was younger, I mean, I'm still young, but when I was younger, just like I just want to get any client. I don't care what it is, whatever price they throw at me, their budget, I'm just gonna take it. But now, since I'm more qualified, I have my master's. I've been in this network for a long time now. Setting prices hasn't been too difficult for me because I kind of have like a set price sheet, and what I love about my business too, I really customize it for the client. I don't just throw packages at them and just like select one. Like I really do take the time to invest and see what's going on with what their needs are and everything. So I do have a set price list, but I do tweak it and tailor it depending on the client.
And is that based on hours you think the work will be performed, or
it's mostly hours and just how it is a big project. I have to outsource it, some people for like graphics and stuff, because Yvette knows, as we were talking about it yesterday, I'm not a graphic designer. I only play one on TV. People think I am this big graphics person, but I really do just like the ideation process, content creation. But graphics, I do it, but like I'm gonna start outsourcing to graphic designers. So if I have to bring on people to my team and stuff for a different project, I will charge a little bit more and take that into consideration when I'm pricing. But it really is how much work it takes. I'll put that, and then just kind of like their overall goals, because some people just want something posted just to have a presence, and they don't care about the engagement or the leads or the conversions and everything, which is terrible. I'll say that it's terrible. It's a waste of your money, because if you're just posting on social media, you're not engaging, it makes no sense.
Right. So, I agree.
Yeah.
So it seems to me sort of the advertising world seems to be becoming more fluid, I guess. So I found it interesting, and I think you and I talked about this briefly before. You run a social media agency. Well, sort of the idea that you can really have an agency that focuses solely on social media, how, is that the wave of the future where you'll have many more specialized agencies, or that focus on certain things, or are we breaking up the advertising agency the way
I definitely think we're disrupting it, definitely, because even like I'm part of a bunch of different like freelancing and digital marketing groups female marketing groups on Facebook, and there'll be like calls for people that are just engagement coordinators, just people that focus on hashtags and following the right people, commenting, all that stuff. I mean, that wasn't anything before. Like people are spending hours just to do those kind of things. So I really feel like it is specialized, and just as social media is evolving, the world within its practitioners are evolving as well too. Because before it was just like, oh, I'll do your Facebook, I'll do your Twitter, I'll do your Instagram. Now it's like, I need you to brand my business as well too on social media. It's not just, oh, post this picture and go. Like it's copy, it's caption writing, branding, production. I mean, we've been through this. It's a lot. So I really do think it's specialized. Yeah.
That I think people don't really, I'll be the first to say, I don't think people fully respect that there's a skill set behind that, just because you do it sort of socially is a different thing when you're trying to build a business solely on social media. Which I would imagine it becomes a challenge for you when you are setting pricing and then trying to say to client the importance of what you do.
Because a lot of times too, with the pricing and everything, they're like, oh, so what does this cover? Like, what's a deliverable? And I have to I'll be like, okay, I'm posting this many times a week and engaging this sort of like, what does engaging mean? What does this mean? So it's like, it's kind of like an educational process as well too, so they can understand exactly what they're getting for their pricing. Because I have to break every single thing down, because they think it's just posting and leaving, and that's it. And it's so much more than that. So
I think the challenge also is, I think people who don't have the skill set you have and haven't done the education have now put themselves out as social media agency too. So how do you combat that? How do you compete with that? Sort of this audience of folks who sort of now deem themselves social media guru because they have a lot of followers. But this isn't what they study. This isn't
so a lot of people think, they still think followers equal money, and that is The furthest thing from the truth. The furthest thing from the truth. You will go on my Instagram now for Digital Zest. I probably have under 400 followers, but I have 6 clients, and you would never know that
Right.
because there's this perception kind of thing. Perception is reality thing, and I think just because you have a bunch of followers, you have a lot of money or you have a lot of influence, but that's not it. I always tell people you need to look at the engagement and like the community that you're building around your social media platforms and your pages, because if you don't have a community and it's just people, I know you guys have seen, people posting and like, oh, great post and like 100% and just like really like spammy comments. That's fake. That's not going to convert to that's not converting to followers, or it's converting to nothing. Like your bank account isn't. It's like what's going on?
Right. What is your conversion rate?
Exactly. So I think definitely I really do focus in on the importance of community. I tell my clients that every single time when I have a meeting with them, community is so important. Your community does not have to be thousands and thousands of followers, but if your community is dedicated, they will become a brand ambassador to other people. So for example, if it's a restaurant and they have, this old granny that loves their ribs all the time, and they're gonna post on Facebook, oh, go to this rib place. And it's just about building community organically. I think a lot of people do not really value organic engagement and organic social media just because they're like, oh, just put up an ad and we'll get followers and we'll get this. Most of the times you're just gonna get impressions, because people like me, I hate seeing ads. I scroll, I'm just like, oh my God, this is too much. So really focusing on organic social media engagement, I think, is the new wave. Like people really need to get on that, because that is where the money is, honestly.
And it's funny, it's for those of us who are being asked, what's your following? Well, how have you engaged in that way? If you have to prepare a report of some kind, how are you able to say, although I don't have a lot of followers, my followers that are there are committed. They're there every day. Yeah. How do you sell that point as well?
Yeah, so definitely I would, there's, different like calculations for engagement rates. So for example, a Instagram page, an influencer can have 24,000 or 100,000 followers per se. And you'll see their feed posts, and they'll have like maybe 100 likes. The math isn't adding up. It's not adding up. So there are bots, there are fake followers. People are still buying fake followers in 2020. Why? I do not know.
You can buy fake followers?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think that started maybe around 2014-ish, because when I started my platform, honestly, it's just to keep up appearances. And I never understood it, because, I mean, I guess maybe the average person wouldn't notice, but I noticed, because this is my domain. But when I see 100,000 followers, and then you're averaging maybe 100 to 200 likes, and then some random, Instagram page is saying, oh, great post, man, and cool, man, like, no, that's how you know when something's fake and when something's real. That is fake.
Wow.
Fake. It just gives appearances like people are really tuned in, but they're not.
I learned something today, y'all. Who knew? Because I look at some people's pages and they have these million followers in it, and I'm thinking, why? Like, because I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're not entertaining, but it just seems weird unless you're just sort of randomly adding people to the equation. So I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry. That's good to know. So what products and services do you offer? Many people don't. I know one of my challenges is when you don't have a widget, a thing, it's hard to understand that every service you have, including pushing that submit button or that post button, costs something. So what are your services, and justify the need for that so that people can understand that, there's a pricing and it makes sense.
Yeah. So we have a pricing structure with Digital Zest. So it's threefold. It's done for you services, and done for you services are more so for the entrepreneur or the business owner that does not care two hoots about social media. They just want it done. They just want it done, hands off. You do you do what you want with it. Just make me look good. That's it. And I love that, but it is a lot of grunt work. So I usually like to do more of the done with you services, and done with you services are more the consulting and the coaching. So some people, it's still a pandemic. Not everyone can afford, a full-time social media manager. So what I do is I try to help kind of the ambitious do-it-yourself entrepreneur that wants to, I guess, get like a little grasp or knowledge of social media and branding. And I just do one-on-one coaching with them, consulting them, giving them, like a content plan to work with, and then they just do it on their own. And I love that because it's building relationships with my clients, and I hate one-off projects. Like I really like being personable, and you know that. So I really do love the consulting aspect and everything. But some people, they're just like, then why don't you just do it for me? But I'm just like, well, if you're consulting, I'm helping you.
Exactly. And, that's a different price.
Exactly. It's a whole different price. And some people want the consulting and the management. I'm just like, I mean, I could do it, but pick one.
Right.
Pick one. Because if I'm teaching you about social media, but you still want me to do it, it's like, it's kind of counterproductive. So, and then done by you products are more so like my ebooks, my digital products. So I do have a couple digital products available and services online at digitalzess.com. One is a customized content calendar. And that is basically just for the person that has no idea what to post at all. So I basically sit down with my client, go over their goals and objectives for the week or the month per se. And for example, National Women's Business Month. So I will literally put a bunch of content ideas that are specific to your brand and your goals together. You'll just have to implement it yourself. So the posting I won't do, but I'll just give you the blueprint and then you run with it, and that's it. And I think that it's probably the most important service that I provide, just because people don't know what to post.
Right.
All they post is, especially if they are a product business or just services business, oh, buy my product. Oh, get my service.
Right.
Just sell, and no one wants to see that.
Right.
Social media at its core is social and about connecting and engaging and being fun and lighthearted. No one wants to just go and like, oh, they're selling this again.
Right.
So another thing that I did do, which is at a lower price mark, is I did write an ebook. It's 99 days of Instagram content. So I broke it down into the engagement boosting post. So an example is, asking your followers for feedback on your products. So you kind of give real time like market research within those posts. The funny posts, everyone loves a good quote. So the motivational, inspiring quotes. So it's really just about giving your followers value and just like a good experience on social media, not just selling them. It's like 80% engaging, entertaining, inspiring, and then 20% selling. So once you gain that trust with your audience, then you could sell and they'll buy from you, point blank. So just for talking businesses audience purpose only. So the ebook is $25, but just for anyone that's listening, we'll post it later. I'll post it later. If you put the promo code Talking Business when you're at checkout for the 99 days of Instagram content ebook, I'll drop the link below. You'll get it for $15 with that code. So
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me know how many people tune in, because I'm very excited about that. And I will say that the show has definitely grown under Ashley, really sort of getting us a community. But she's definitely been an active participant in that. So I did want to throw that out there because, when I started, I was just doing some stuff, throwing stuff up and
seeing what doesn't. Yeah.
I was hoping you came, and so I was like, okay, I need some help here. So Yvette introduced me to Ashley, who we'd worked before on Carnival before. So, so I have to definitely thank her for that. Okay, wait. So there was a question. You work full time.
Yes.
And you manage your business.
Yes.
Tell us some, the challenges with that, and do you advise it?
I advise it if you need to. If you cannot, fully support yourself with just being full-time entrepreneur, I don't suggest just quitting your job, and especially not in a pandemic. To be honest with you, if I didn't have my day job, I was not going to be just starting an agency and, but it's definitely difficult because I am the social media manager for a government entity. So that is a whole nother ball game with, politics involved, and it's very information intensive. So it's kind of like, I kind of wish I had a day job that had nothing to do with my fields. So I can get a break, because it's like, I remember one time, literally, Stephanie, I posted the Talking Business flyer on and I was like,
we appreciate that, but I don't know if that was a good thing.
No, I didn't catch it. My boss texted me. She's like, are we sponsoring this? I'm just like, oh my God.
Oh no.
It it was crazy. Like juggling everything. It's like
Right.
the amount of Facebook pages and Instagram pages I have admin access to on my account. I'm just like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
Right.
So yeah, it is a lot, especially if it's the same field. But I do believe that it kind of helps me a little bit more like credibility, because sometimes people look at people that only did freelance work. They're just like, they don't really have, real work experience. They want 9 to 5 corporate, stuff like that.
Right.
So it's not too bad. Obviously, by next year, I really do want to fully transition into just full entrepreneurship, and hopefully things will be better. I don't know what's going on, but I hope things will be better next year. But yeah, definitely working full time, a job that's calling you when you're on a phone with a client. Like, I'm surprised they didn't call me now.
Right.
The time management and the scheduling and everything, it's very important. I think just for entrepreneurs as a whole, time management.
Yes.
Everything. I think I was talking to Yvette about this yesterday. I think another reason why people have poor time management skills is they have poor boundary setups. So like with their clients and stuff, I'll shut off at a certain time. Or if you just let your clients and your job drain you to the point that you're always on the clock, you're gonna burn out so fast.
I completely agree.
So fast.
I completely agree. I'm going through that right now. I've had that same conversation with Corlette last week when we had the show about just time management, and I'm speaking to a lot of, in particular, women who are entrepreneurs, and that's the struggle right now is time to manage. And I think it's become worse a little bit with the pandemic, because everybody sort of always knows you're in front of your computer, or you're at home and you're accessible, or you're at your phone. Right? So it becomes hard to say no, but then you have to figure out a way to do so. So it's a bit of a challenge. Going back to your products and services, I meant to also ask you, which of the revenue streams are you finding right now is more successful, and where do you see the potential in some of the other ones?
I think definitely the products, because like I said, people are not really paying for full social media managers, even though I do have my clients that I'm fully managing their social media. But more so for like millennials, because millennials, we're always starting a business. We always have a business idea and everything. So a lot of my consulting clients are usually around my age or a little older. But like my other like full management clients, they're a little up there, Gen X kind of, and they don't care. They're just like, do the Twitter, do the whatever you have to do it.
Do it all. Because it's overwhelming. I'm the Generation X, y'all. Just because it's overwhelming. There are all these platforms, and like you said, there's a strategy to this, and I really respect that there is a strategy. And if you don't do it right and do it well, then it's just getting followers. It's not converting into sales.
Exactly.
So there's sort of potential of. So do you feel like, since you mentioned that with regards to millennials, they're growing with you. So will they always sort of be in that spectrum of consultation, or do you think there's potential for you to trade them up?
I think it depends on the client, honestly, but I do really think that for the most part, we're very do-it-yourself. I want to learn everything about everything. So I think the consulting thing really helps them, because a lot of times just like, I have all these ideas, I just need an extra push. And that's kind of how I kind of use my consultation too, because I don't really work with people that have no idea what they want, because one, that's a headache. Two, it doesn't make sense. So they usually have an idea, they just don't know, I guess, the best practices of social media. So that's kind of where I step in. So I definitely think for my age group, maybe when we become parents and stuff, and we have kids to watch and everything, they might do the whole full service thing. Because right now, obviously, we're in the worst economy. Job market is crazy bad for us right now. So just even wrapping my mind around just like outsourcing everything, I'm just like, oh my God, maybe I should just keep it to myself. But I think we really are like dangerously independent sometimes. So I think the consulting thing helps them more than the actual full management.
Okay. You said earlier that you started out in the journalism field. It's very interesting. I actually have a friend who is a journalist who's talked about that field is somewhat in danger. We've got this whole, fake news and all that type of stuff. And with the movement of social media and things moving so quickly, it really sort of is also all about the influencer
Mm-hmm.
who can get someone's attention.
Yeah.
Um, what is your? I find it interesting that your transition to social media, is that where we're headed, or how can the journalism space evolve?
Yeah. I think definitely journalism space can evolve if people don't read. People don't read.
They
The
really
attention
don't.
span is really, really short. And like I said, I was always going to use these like words: personable, community. Like those are my keywords, but it's true. So for journalism now, I think people don't really care about, especially like entertainment journalism. Like E News, they shut down their, I think one of their shows the other day, because no one cares about that stuff anymore. Some people just want kind of like a personable touch to stories. They kind of
Mhm.
just don't want. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of platforms tweeting every day. Oh, Trump tweeted this, Trump tweeted that. But people want to know, like, kind of like, I think we're moving more to op-ed kind of stuff, opinion
Mhm.
writing, and kind of putting
Right.
your own little twist to things because people don't care about. I mean, they could go to CNN if they want to see a breaking news report, but kind of like being a more personal journalist and writer and storyteller, I think that would probably help the field a little bit more.
But how do you reconcile the facts at the end of the day? I mean, I had
Yeah.
someone call me the other day and ask if I was a journalist and if what we were doing was news. And no,
Mm-hmm.
that's fact finding. You got to tell the truth.
Yeah, I think there's
So,
journalists for different, areas. The hard hitting investigative journalists that they get the facts and everything, and then there's other people that just are going to talk about what happened and put their little twist on it and kind of like not put your twist on it, but more so, I guess, kind of like say, what does this mean for us? So instead of
mhm,
just reporting something, they're just giving context and like how that relates to us and like the Trump stuff. People are just like, oh, he tweeted this, but what does this mean?
right.
What in history has this happened before? So kind of giving more context instead of just reporting blindly, I
Mhm.
think is kind of how we could distinguish just being a journalist and being someone that actually cares about, what's going on.
Okay. Um, so we talked a little bit about right before the show. You market every day for everyone else.
Every day. Every
All day.
single day.
So when you're asleep, how do
Yes.
you market for yourself?
How do I market for myself? So, admittedly, when I got all these clients, it was a little harder for me to market myself because I had so much things going on and working
Mhm.
on my clients. But I think now referrals are so important. Shout out to Yvette again.
I was about to say,
Again,
anybody
always,
else anybody else is
always,
on the
always. Yvette
call?
always put me on. But referrals are so important. So I think just my work itself kind of serves as a marketing tool.
Mhm.
People are just like, oh, look what you did for this client. Oh, I want that. Can I do that? Like, oh, can you get me in touch with this person who did that? So I think really your portfolio is a great way to market yourself. Also, too, when I'm finding leads and stuff on social media, I go to LinkedIn. A lot of LinkedIn companies now that are
Mhm.
posting job postings, they don't really want an employee. They want a contractor because
Mhm.
they can't pay to do the benefits and all that stuff. So I kind of put myself out there to drop my
Yeah.
resume here and there. LinkedIn, I'm connecting with everyone. I get like dozens of connection requests like every day. I'm just like, oh, send a little line here and there. So I think connecting on LinkedIn and also just positioning myself as a thought leader
Okay.
on social media. So on Instagram, on Digital Zest, I kind of do Tuesday trainings like every Tuesday
Okay.
and kind of like tell people, I think last week I did the four key content pillars that you need to use in your content strategy. So education, information, entertainment. Forgot the last one, but yeah, my head is
Go
just
on
whew.
Tuesday and she'll tell you what to look up.
Exactly. Yes, it's all my highlights on Digital Zest Instagram now. All the trainings are there. So I think just showing your client reviews and showing how you help people, and also just positioning yourself as a thought leader, like you know exactly what you're talking about. So if I know what
Mhm.
I'm talking about, I know what I could do for you, and you know what I could do for you. So I think that's kind of how I market myself instead of just being, oh, I do social media. Like it's more than that now.
Right.
So
I will say I think the same for this show. I think it's really prompted. I mean, I'm not the one giving all the advice, but I think it's been very helpful in opening up an audience of folks that are now tuning in to see if I want to start a business, what must I
yeah.
do? And it might not be as easy as I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
There are some
Yes, it is a
challenges.
lot of work.
So I was told when I first started my business that you need to. I was actually reading a book where they talked about you need to identify who are your sponsors and who are your mentors. Just to explain what that is for the audience,
Mm-hmm.
mentors are people you look at. Sponsors are people that kind of grab you by the hand and pull you along.
Mm-hmm.
Um, have you started to think about who some of those people are, and are you willing
Mm-hmm.
to throw some of those names out and how they
Yvette
can be
Harris.
used for us? But I knew you were going to say that too, so that's why I said I think we're going to talk about you later. I
Yes.
hope you hear that. Go ahead, say it again.
But yes, Yvette Harris is a mentor and a sponsor. She is just amazing. I literally say this all the time. Like I would not be where I am. Like I started as a entertainment blogger. So when they used to have the Colors of the Caribbean Festival in Hollywood, she
Mhm.
put me out there with no, no floaties, like just dump me in the water. And I was like, Ashley, interview Wayne Wonder. I'm just like, but I never did that before. And then I did it, and then I think she just has such a grasp on communications as a whole. I know she's a
Right,
publicist, but she just knows so much about everything. So
right,
kind of like working with her and navigating through the whole communications world, I really realized what I wanted to do, which was ultimately social media and branding. So
okay.
she is just, besides mentoring, she puts you on. A lot of my clients are because of her. You are because of her. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
she really is just amazing. But for mentors that there's mentors that mentors that you kind of just look up to,
Right,
and there's
absolutely.
certain people on social media. There's actually another Trini. I think she's a social media expert on Instagram. Her name is Brand Sauce Official. All these
Okay,
zesty sauce, anything.
right.
But Brand Sauce Official, she's great. I really do look up to her, and I kind of look up to people that are my age doing what I'm doing. I kind of don't want to network up. I kind of network across sometimes because I feel like when
Okay,
you build that community, here we go again. When we build
right.
that
Yeah, that's not
community
a bad
like
thing.
this way, you go up together instead of
Right,
reaching
absolutely.
for people that are kind of unattainable. Because sometimes too, even when I started journalism, I used to look for mentors that were journalists from different networks, and they kind of weren't as in tune or like connecting with me as much. And I feel like kind of learning together and growing together is a great form of mentorship. So I think that's really like my favorite type of mentor, not someone that is too much older than me or too much more experienced, but they kind of just have different experiences, and we're kind of
Mhm.
learning all the way, and they might know something I don't, I might know something they don't, so kind of like collaboration.
And because they know your working style, when I was in film school,
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the first things the instructor taught. Know these people now who
Yeah.
you're in this class with, because I guarantee you they're going to be the people you
Mm-hmm.
work
They
with.
always say that in college, always.
And that's true. So,
Yeah.
because they're always going to be the ones to pick up and go, hey, call her. I know she's
Mm-hmm.
got this skill set kind of thing.
Yeah.
So cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So, where do you see yourself? Because when you start out, you're supposed to have sort of this business plan.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it used to be the first 3 years.
Yeah.
Now I think it's the first 5 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
What's your trajectory? Where would you like to see yourself in 3 years, 5 years, and beyond?
So, well, like I said, by next year, I'm out of my day job. I am full-time
That's a good
entrepreneur.
start.
Yeah. But I think basically in the next 3 years, I'd like to position not only Digital Zest, but Actually Relates as a whole, like a kind of like micro influencer kind of thing in the social media and branding world. So kind of putting myself out there like I'm doing now. Like I said, I love to be behind the scenes, but I'm kind of putting myself out there more
Hmm.
so people put a face to the brand.
Right,
So I
absolutely.
think I would want to do like more speaking engagements like this, kind of just more teaching and consulting. I really want to do workshops in the future. I'll probably start with some virtual workshops now because everything is closed down,
Right,
but definitely workshops, panel discussions, and just having a whole team, not just outsourcing, having a resident graphic designer, resident branding, someone else I can consult. Because now what I love about my job too, and just like my experience, anyone that I bring on, I can kind of do their job. So it's not
right,
like I'm depending on them. It's kind of just like they're just adding to what I already have.
right,
So I know a lot of people, people, start an agency. Like I know people that start a marketing agency, they have no idea about marketing, none.
right,
They're like, that's where the
right.
money is. I'm just gonna get the social media person, get this advertising person, I'm just gonna get the clients. But I'm not like that. I'm so into the field itself, like I'm in love with this.
Right.
So it's like it's really like my purpose. So bringing on people that are as passionate as the field as I am would be great. So I think that's pretty much scale. Isn't that what people are saying? Scaling
Right.
your business.
That's the
Scaling your
word.
business.
That's
So
it.
yeah, that's pretty much my goal.
Okay. You've got the jargon down pat already. So what will it take for you to get to your first year goal of being able to be standalone business? What will that take?
I think definitely I do want to focus more on the passive income, so more the digital products and bringing in income there,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of just like being able to offset how much money I'm making with my full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
But that is coming quicker than I thought it would. So
Okay.
yeah, so I think just maybe add 2 more clients so I can outsource some things. And people don't like to outsource because I know they're like, oh, that's taking money away from me, but it's taking money away from you temporarily just so you can make more money in the
Right.
future. Because
Exactly.
sometimes just like, I don't want to ever say, oh, I can't do that because I have too much on my plate. Like I want to be able to take on clients that I really connect with
Mm-hmm.
and have
Absolutely.
people to help me with it because I can't do everything. I'm not the best at everything. Like I said, I'm not a graphic designer. I know how to work my way around Canva, but I know there's people that could actually help me and just make my business even better than it is now. So
Right.
yeah.
So, how have you been able to establish those relationships that you now have sort of a team, maybe not a hired team, but you could pick up a phone and call such and such, and they will handle this aspect of it.
So Yvette, and also too, like I said, when I had my blog, the Urban Play, I did have interns working for me, so writing and stuff. So with them, they already knew photographers, videographers. I do have this videographer friend. He was my intern before, but now he's actually producing for a bunch of different people. He is producing for Dwayne Wade's dad. He has a podcast, Wade Different. So his social media thing is I am Erratic Minds. I did his logo and everything. Anyway, but so yeah, he is someone I could call like, oh, I need a video. Can you do this for me? And everything. And then people that did my logos before for me, I kind of outsource that when a client needs a logo. I kind of come up with the idea, do a little mock-up on my pen and paper on Canva, and then they just run with it. So I think it's honestly how I connect with people the most are Twitter chats. So people on Twitter, I really hate Instagram because it's very vain, but I love Twitter because it's really easy to connect with people in your field and in your industry just by tweet. So like there's different lists on Twitter. I'm part of a blacks in social media Twitter list. So I just like connect with those people, interact with their content, stuff like that, and then I just know who to call. So yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Well, thank you very much. Before we go, 2 more things. One, I want to announce, thanks to Ashley, by the way, Talking Business will be doing a virtual happy hour on October 30th.
Ladies' night.
6 o'clock, we're doing a ladies' night. And men, we're not forgetting about you. I promise. It's just that it's women's National Women's Business Month.
Yes.
Because, to her point, and she made a good point, and she's actually been very instrumental in saying this to me as well. We need to craft a community where we can support one another. This has been a wonderful podcast, and I definitely hope it will grow and we will get more people engaged, but we really want to be able to provide support. A lot of times people are trying to figure it out as small business owners. That's why we talk about the pivot plan so much, because this pandemic has really brought to light that we don't have it together and we really need to give support to one another. And that emergency plan you thought was going to work apparently is not as effective as you thought. So one of our goals definitely is being able to create a community of people where we can support one another, maybe help each other find clients. And we are very interested in learning how we in Talking Business can support your growth, your scale, your dreams, whatever it is you're looking for. So we hope you will join us. Stay tuned. We will be sending out the flyer via social media and email. Happy hour virtual October 30th from 6 to 7:30. It's right before you go out to your other social happy hour, which if you do, or if you social distancing. If you aren't, wear a mask.
Yes, please.
Please wear a mask.
Please.
Because that's a very serious thing. So yes, we will be putting that information out there. And when Ashley said that to me, I was like, that's a really good idea. We wish we could provide the wine for you, but we can't. So, so grab a glass of wine and join us. Very casual, and we'll see if we can start to continue to have those kind of conversations and networking opportunities. So before we go, please tell us how we can get in touch with you.
Okay, so you can get in touch with me. My personal Instagram is @AshRelates. You see it right there. My Instagram page for Digital Zess, it's Digital Zess, so DIGITALZESS. So like zest, but with an S at the end instead, two S's instead of a T. That's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Shoot me an email on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn now. Ashley Andrews. I'll put all of this in a post later on today. But
okay.
Yeah, and then digitalzest.com. That's where you'll get the book. Like I said, $10 off for you guys. Talking Business promo code at checkout for the 99 days of Instagram content. And also with that book, you do get a free printable content calendar kind of template, so you can map out all the 99 ideas that I have for you guys.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you for joining us today. As I mentioned, I am a client. I'm that full service client. And it's been wonderful working with her. She's very easygoing to work with. And definitely I recommend you give her a call today. Don't delay.
Yes. Ashley at digitalzest.com. If you want to email me, I'm there.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Have a great day. So thank you everyone for joining us again. As we all know, marketing is a very powerful tool. I'm actually very grateful that now we're starting to recognize that marketing needs to be on the budget line. It needs to be a budget line item, and it's not just trying to do it yourself. There are definitely experts out there that can help you do it and do it right. And so I definitely recommend you reach out to Ashley Relates again in Digital Zess. We will see you again on Thursday, 10 a.m. We will be talking to Altrice Hawkins. Her business is Little Miss Turbans. She started a business of hairwear, accessory hairwear, and turbans actually. And it's going to be interesting to really learn more about how the manufacturing world works, and especially during a pandemic, and if that has been something she's been able to manage. So we'll see you at 10 o'clock on Thursday. And thank you again for tuning in. Have a great day.